Hey again everyone, you join me today in my garage about to run a diagnostic on my BMW Z4M. I've ordered a scan tool, it's been delivered, and there's a couple of things that we want to check out. So this is the scan tool. It's an Autophix 7910. There were a few which I had a choice between, but the write-ups on this one for BMWs was pretty good, and it supposedly cures the problems that I'm encountering. So there's two things that we need to look at on the Z4M. Let's go and have a look. Under there is the OBD2 port. We'll get this thing plugged in. There are a couple of issues which are plaguing my Z4M at the moment. One of them being an airbag light comes on. Supposedly the MOT said that it was the steering angle sensor, so that's why we've got this tool, because supposedly it can help us fix it by doing a recalibration. Second is the central locking doesn't work remotely via the keys. So that can be a number of things. It can be the relays, which there's a box underneath the glove box, I believe, which has these small relays inside which can go bad. And there's also a sensor in the mirror which can go potty as well. There is a sequence, a programming procedure for the keys, which I've been through 100 times now with both keys, every which way. There's 3 or 4 different methods of doing it. None of them seem to work, unfortunately. Everywhere else in the car is locked and seems to lock just fine when doing the procedure, but the keys won't remotely unlock or lock the car at all. So before I start digging deeper into the relays or the mirror or individual locks in the car that might be causing an issue, I replaced the fuses just in case. They seem fine. We're going to run a full diagnostic and see whether or not we can get to the bottom of the central locking issue and the airbag. So let's get to it. First things first, we'll turn the ignition on. And hopefully you can see this. So we'll want to navigate to for BMW. You can see there as well the airbag light coming on. Press OK to that. We'll go to BMW series. We are Z series and we're an E86. And we'll click on basic functions and see where that gets us. And we'll do a system scan. Okay, so here we have the results of the scan. It took around about 5 minutes to do its thing, and we have a few error codes, so we'll go through them, we'll see what they are quickly, and then what I'll do after that is I'll erase them all, start the car up, see whether or not anything's just fixed from the get-go, it was just something that was existing in memory, and then we'll go from there. So EWS, read fault codes, FF general reset, 0F power on reset, have no idea what they are. I guess another thing I didn't do with this is give it an update before I plugged it in, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of these codes don't make any sense. A46B control module fault. It's fault code, there we go. Fault code is not found in database, so maybe it does need an update to be a bit more specific. Airbag, so this is one of the issues that we've got. Let's see what it says. Safety battery terminal. So I wonder if that airbag light is possibly due to the battery just getting low. This car was sat prior to purchase for, it did barely any miles for 18 months due to COVID lockdowns and stuff like that. So it's been on the forecourt for that long. So that could be the case, and it's just something that's lingering in memory. So we'll erase that soon. So instrument cluster, not found. GM base module, power window, open circuit, jam protection strip or lost or scaling. I have no idea what any of this is. Central locking system fuse. That's interesting. I've just replaced both fuses for the central locking, as you can maybe see under there. I've had the glove box out dealing with some fuses, but I'll have a look at that. So what we'll do is we'll erase these fault codes. So are you sure for Raise fault codes, had success. Please wait 10 seconds, turn ignition off and switch on again. Okay, so they're all raised. What I'll do is I'll check back with you shortly after I've turned the car on and off and see where we get. So I've switched the ignition on and off, and clicking through these to read the fault codes, you can see there's now no fault codes at all. Fantastic. And the airbag light has disappeared. So good news, hopefully. What I'll do is I will exit this and do another full scan and see whether or not it generates anything different. So a new scan has been run and it's got rid of most of the fault codes, which is a good thing. The things that remain are things I have absolutely no idea or clue about, so I'll need to do some deep diving online. But the central locking fault code for the fuse, that's disappeared. It had, in one of the central locking fuses, it had a 5 amp fuse which should have been 7.5. I replaced that and that didn't fix it. Having the wrong fuse in there, the fuse was intact, so I don't think it caused any damage, but chances are the central locking still doesn't work from what I've just tested. I'll have to dig deeper there. DTC button, that's an error code, that's a new one. And then we have some relays with the AC system, and then some fault codes on the power windows. They seem to be working perfectly, so God knows where that is. Cool, the airbag light's gone off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to recalibrate the steering angle sensor anyway. So there we have it, all lights off, which is cool. Okay, so that's the first scan using the Autophix 7910 in the Z4M. It didn't fix the central locking, unfortunately. To be fair, I knew that was a bit of a stretch. I'm going to have to dig deeper, potentially look at relays and the mirror. It did, however, clear the airbag light, which is cool, and I recalibrated the steering angle sensor just using their tool. I didn't have to mess or play with the wheel or anything like that. It was on level ground, did it all itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it for a quick drive and make sure none of these lights come back up. If there's any updates, I will let you know. So just arrived back after a 20-minute drive in it, and it drives fine, drives just as well as it did before. The knocking at the front, which I explained in my first drive video, is now a lot less pronounced and quieter. Whether or not that has anything to do with that calibration, no idea. I'm not a mechanic, but you know, I'll gladly have a go and do my research, but in this instance I have no clue. So yeah, the scan tool, the Autophix 7910, do I recommend it? Okay, this is only my first use, so it's not like a long-term review or anything like that, but it did what it said on the tin. It got rid of the fault codes. It managed to get rid of the airbag light, which was my main point of contention at the moment. It's a little over £100. I'll leave a link to this particular model from Amazon in the description below, so you can pick it up for yourselves if you decide to get one. And you know, to be fair, I'll be using this no doubt again in future, probably occasionally, just to see if any new errors popped up. I will grab the codes from this, do some research online. And if anybody out there knows what some of these codes or some of these messages actually mean, to save me a bit of time or point me in the right direction, then by all means leave some comments below. So you join me again in the garage, and I'm doing a job on the central locking and the glove box. So let's take a look. So that is essentially the glove box assembly plus a few other bits, and this is what is broken. So this is why the glove box isn't staying in place. It's becoming a bit janky, and it's essentially a bit of plastic here that's broke. I have a feeling I might be able to repair that. I might be able to make a 3D printed part, or I might be able to plastic weld, screw it back together maybe. Not sure, we'll see. We'll give it a shot. And the reason I've taken all this out as well is to get to this. So this module, I believe it's called the GM5 module, is responsible for your central locking, you know, locking the boot, the doors, your windows, your wipers, so on and so forth. A lot of the car's control systems. And this is the next port of call now that I can't program the keys. The button still works inside the car, so I think it might be the relays inside this. So all this came out. Let's go out. You can see what I had to do to get it. So first things first, I had to disconnect the negative on the battery, and then hopefully the light in here is good enough. This is where all the trim came out. On American cars, I believe when you actually take the panel out underneath here, the GM5 is the unit, the module is actually attached to the back of that panel. In the UK though, by the looks of things, in this particular car anyway, hopefully this shows, but it's attached up here, if you can see where I'm pointing now. And all it took was a 10mm to take it off. It was on like a metal arm with 2 bolts. So yeah, that was fixed on the inside of the car, and by the looks of it, this is already a refurb or a spare unit. It's probably failed in the past. Just googling the forums and stuff like that, you find that a lot of people have this problem, and it's quite a common repair to get the relays inside here refurb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it open now and see if there's anything that we can see that suggests that the relays might be the issue. As this is out of the car, central locking, power windows, everything like that doesn't work, and I'd rather not leave the car open and in that state. So we'll pop this open. If it looks bad, we'll probably get it sent off for refurb. If it's anything we can do quickly, we'll try and sort it out and get it back on the car. So there's the unit, the GM5 out of its box. There's not anything immediately apparent with regards to the relays. I'm not sure whether or not they're broken, in all honesty. So this box, you can send this off and get it refurbed, and then it should just be plug and play straight back into the car. If not, then you might have to get it reprogrammed again by BMW, but you can save some money. This unit itself is a good chunk of change. So for now, I'm going to put this back in the car because I can live with no central locking for the time being, but that looks like the good next step. I know how to get it out now, and I know where to send it. So I'm going to pop it back in. I'm going to leave the glove box assembly out of the car so I can get easy access to this. I wasn't using the glove box anyway, and I'll potentially try a repair myself unless I come across or anybody knows of a cheap glove box assembly. Let me know in the comments. I will try and repair that myself. In the meantime, I've got some other bits coming over the next couple of days. The tyres are about to be installed, and I've got, I want to wash it, take the M badges off, get the new emblems on, yeah, and then just take it from there. But I think that'll be the next job, the GM5 relay. That'll be the next job I do.